What's going on, guys? This is the Edge DFS, the Showdown show. We're talking Buccaneers versus Giants. We're recording this on Sunday night at halftime on the Cowboys game. Real quick, what are your thoughts on this shitfest 7-6 Cowboys versus Eagles? Mr. Ben DiNucci should have already thrown for like 7 pick sixes. How are you doing so far? You're pretty high up there, right? You got the defense and the captain.
Yeah, so I have the Philly defense in the captain spot in one of my just random fucking Hail Mary darts, and it could work out, but like I'm seriously pissed that I don't have 21 defensive points already. There should at least be three pick sixes. Like, I don't understand how he hasn't thrown an interception yet, and it's an incredibly frustrating experience for me right now. But I'm still pretty spread out, so I'm not doing bad overall at all.
Bro,
I just need a couple things to go my way.
I mean, we called it in the stream. Ben DiNucci literally is, he's a third string quarterback. He does not deserve to be starting on a Sunday night football game, especially for America's team. So they're running literally CeeDee Lamb at quarterback. They're running they're trying to figure out everything that they can possibly do to win this game. We're not going to get into it. We already talked about this. So let's move on to Buccaneers versus Giants. And if you hear me scream or Ellie scream during, that means something probably good happened for our fantasy teams. Anyways,
Buccaneers probably not. We're probably just pissed that it didn't go our way. But that's
most likely. All right, so let's look at this. So if you thought the line was crazy for tonight's Sunday night game, wait till you'll get a load of this shit. Minus 642 for Tampa Bay. You have a 12.5 point spread and a 45 over under. If you played League of Legends DFS during quarantine, these numbers might look pretty familiar to you here. Tampa Bay versus the Giants. You got Tom Brady against the New York Giants. The Giants are at home. What do you think about this game? I mean, what are we going to do with this fucking game?
I think it's going to be a really fun game for DFS. I'm kind of weird. I kind of like playing the Giants in DFS, and it's mostly because you have such a broad range of outcomes to deal with. It's hard to predict. But tomorrow night, I mean, Wayne Gallman is about to be pretty much the only running back. Like, I don't even know who else is going to be there. And honestly, I'm in kind of a Wayne Gallman guy for some reason, and I don't even know why. Honestly, I have no fucking clue why I want to see Wayne Gallman succeed, but it's something that I want to see happen. So
what a fucking sentence, man! What a sentence! I'm a Wayne Gallman guy. That's a fucking statement right there.
Yeah, I don't even know what it means. Like, but I'm rooting for him, and I'm kind of excited to see how this is going to play out.
All right, so let's check out the injuries here. Not a whole lot to talk about. You got Godwin out. We know that. On your Wayne Gallman point, you got Devontae Freeman out. So you got Wayne Gallman and Dion Lewis. Chris Godwin is out, so Mike Evans is probably going to be chalk. I mean, depending on how you want to define chalk on a showdown slate. But we've got a lot of options for Tampa Bay here. Antonio Brown is not yet active. That would have been very interesting to throw him into the mix of a showdown slate. But for now, Godwin, Freeman, nothing else to talk about. How does this affect things for you? With Godwin out, I mean, Mike Evans is the guy, but also Mike Evans can stub his toe running out on the field and be out for 6 weeks. To me, it's a big risk to play a lot of Evans, and we'll get into that in a minute. How does this affect? Does any news affect you at all here?
Yeah. I mean, with Chris Godwin getting out or not being able to play, the guy that I'm looking at here is Tyler Johnson. We made this call a couple weeks ago on the last Tampa slate, and I really like him. I was watching his routes very closely. I was watching him in the game, obviously, because I wanted to see him do well. He was like $200. So, actually, that's not true. He was $3K. But anyways, Yeah, I think he's going to start getting involved more with these injured wide receivers, and I like him. I think he's going to be a good wide receiver. So, I think he opens up some decent value with Godwin being out.
All right, so let's move on to ownership. We've done a pretty decent job nailing ownership, just getting it close, figuring out who's going to be the top couple owned, who's going to be that in that 5% sort of and lower in the captain. Just off the top of your head here, how are you treating this just ownership, just first reaction looking at the slate? This is like probably your first time looking at it. I looked at it briefly before we started the show because DraftKings literally just released their information maybe an hour or 2, 3 hours ago, not too long ago. Ownership-wise, who's going to be your top 3 owned players here, considering the spread, considering Tampa Bay is going to be heavily favored?
I'm going to say Tom Brady will probably come in around 80%. Mike Evans probably be close to 70, 65% owned. And I don't know. I think Rob Gronkowski might be pretty chalky tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see where he's going to land in at. But I think it's going to be Tom Brady, Mike Evans, and probably Gronk.
I think because Tom Brady is so expensive, I think it's going to spread the ownership out a little bit. Tonight we saw you saw Carson Wentz. I think he was 80% owned overall, maybe even more. But he was at a reasonable price. I think with Tom Brady being so damn expensive, it might sort of spread things out a little bit. I think he will be the highest owned, but I think he'll be a little bit. He's not going to be in the 70 or 80%. I mean, I don't think so. I think Evans is going to be so highly owned because it's just such an easy play. Oh, Godwin's out. Well, let's put in Evans. Daniel Jones. I hope he's low owned because I'm going to get a lot of this guy. I know that Tampa Bay's defense is pretty impressive. The Eagles' defense by default tonight was sort of a great play because they're going against such a shitty team. But Tampa Bay's defense, legit against anybody in the league, is very good. I think Tampa Bay's defense is going to be so high owned. I think they could be top 5 maybe. Although they're priced at 7,400. I don't remember a defense being priced that high on a showdown slate in a long time. And you look at the other side of it, the Giants defense at 2,400. Well, that's understandable. I get that. So quickly touching on ownership from the Giants, who do you think is going to be, besides Daniel Jones, who do you think will be the highest owned from the Giants on the slate?
Let me look at their wide receivers. It'll probably end up being Darius Slayton.
Because of the price, I think. $7K maybe.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm very curious to see where it lands Golden Tate because his price is kind of obscene there. But if I don't know, if ownership kind of just goes to the top guy, I think it's going to go to Darius Slayton on the Giants. Maybe Wayne Gallman, but probably Darius Slayton.
All right, so let's move on to our breakdown here. Let's look at, we usually go position by position. We talk it out real time and try to just give you our best opinions on who we think can succeed. We talk about snap rates. We'll talk about air yards. We'll talk about all those fun stats that you guys like to hear. Summarize things for you. So if you look at Tom Brady, he's 12K. Daniel Jones at 9.2K. I just feel like Daniel Jones... 9.2K is it's just right. I think he's priced just right here. And I would not be upset if I got a lot of Daniel Jones. I think you're going to have Tom Brady. I think he's probably going to be in the optimal, but if you wanted to be really bold and you wanted to just rely on the fact that maybe Tom Brady throws for 1 or 2 touchdown passes and he hands the ball off a couple times to Fournette and Ronald Jones and things get out of hand there, I think if you faded Tom Brady, first of all, you got some balls on you if you do. But if you do, you have a lot of leverage. And one way to get different is fading one of the quarterbacks. Fading a $12,000 Tom Brady and plugging in a couple of other rushing options or receiving options for the Bucs, I think could be a way to go. How are you handling the quarterback situation? You're going to have both these guys? You're going to fade one of them? What do you think?
But yeah, I'm gonna fade one of them, and we'll get to it. And I'm probably way too early on this, but Tom Brady is the easiest fade of the slate to me. His price is ridiculous, and if this line is even close to accurate, there's not going to be a reason in hell that he needs to go out there and put up the kind of performance that's going to garner paying $12K for him. And in addition, I think he's going to be the highest owned player on the slate. So that's just an easy call for me. Daniel Jones is going to have to be in probably every single one of my lineups to make sure that I compensate for the production loss by not playing Tom Brady if he does have a ceiling type of night.
Yeah.
So that's where I am. It's going to be very close to 90-10 to 0 to 100% fade.
I mean, look, we got Ben DiNucci at 8,600 tonight. This guy should not even be in the league. I think he's doing the best he can. Just talent-wise, he just shouldn't be in the league. Not to mention,
I would have called Brett Favre and I would have called Colin Kaepernick. Like I mean, before I started Ben DiNucci, like I don't know what they're doing. This is ridiculous.
I mean, no offense to this guy, he's literally doing the best he can, but like he probably he's had 0 snaps with the starters. My point being here, you've got Daniel Jones, a high draft pick, a great player. If he was on another team, he would be highly regarded, a potential Pro Bowler. He's just on one of the shittiest teams in the league. He's only $600 more than Ben DiNucci. To me, I know I said he was priced just right, but now that I think about it, I mean, this guy is priced well, like really good, and I want a lot of him, especially considering that going into the third quarter of this game, they could be down by 2 touchdowns. They're not going to hand the ball off. It's going to be 40, 50 pass attempts for Daniel Jones. And garbage time is a real thing. Teams come back. Teams keep it close. They keep, like lately in the NFL, no lead is safe. They keep it close. I might just lock Daniel Jones. I don't know if I'm going to have him in captain because he's probably going to be relatively high owned in captain because of his price. But I love Daniel Jones. And I think Tom Brady should be scattered around my lineups depending on roster construction and ownership. Let's move on to running back. Let's start with the Buccaneers. So this is slightly confusing situation here. So Ronald Jones is the starter.
God damn it. I'm sorry. Carson Wentz just threw another interception.
Wow,
I fucking hate this guy, dude. Like,
what is
all
going
you have to
on here?
do is not do this shit. Don't fucking turn the ball over. You're playing the fucking Cowboys. I'm sorry.
They just need field goals. They just need field goals. Diggs is fucking good, man. This guy's good. Okay, so so Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay, their running back situation. So Fournette missed a couple weeks. He missed, I think, 4 weeks. Was it? His last game was week 3, and he played last week. So if you look at the snap rate, Leonard Fournette had 54% of the snaps to Ronald Jones 44%. Leonard Fournette ran 21 routes. Ronald Jones only ran 13. And Fournette had 7 targets, as well as he had 17% of the team's target share, which is that's in green. That means it's good. So, I mean, how are you handling Ronald Jones versus Fournette? I know that Bruce Arians, I don't know what to think about this, man. Do you have any insight on this? Can you help me out with this?
Yeah, man. I like Ronald Jones a lot. Leonard Fournette is dust at this point, man. If he's not coming in lean, like if he doesn't look physically lean, he's not the same Leonard Fournette that we had in years past. But Ronald Jones, he's a grown ass man, dude. He's a big running back, and he's playing physical this year. I get he may not have had the output that we expected from him last week, but last week could almost be seen as an outlier on an otherwise upwards trend. He's going to get the bulk carries, and he may not see that many targets. But first of all, I do not want Leonard Fournette out in the open field. He's too slow, and he's dependent upon running over people. Ronald Jones, he's shown that he can run over people, but he's also elusive. I still think he's a better open field back. I still think he's a more physical back, and I think Bruce Arians is going to start leaning towards him. I know they got Leonard Fournette and they like him, but I mean, Bruce Arians probably better than I do, and you know how he gets once he likes one of his running backs, and he seemed to like Ronald Jones coming as of weeks pass.
Look, all I want to show you here. Look at the screen. Look at the box scores here for fantasy output for Ronald Jones. You see those 3 green areas, the 3 weeks that he was in green? Those are the weeks that Leonard Fournette was out. That can't be a coincidence. Last week, he got... I mean, just look at the attempts. Look at the carries. It was 17, 7, 13. Then it jumped up to 20, 17, 23. Leonard Fournette comes back. He's at 13. His targets went up. So the weeks that Leonard Fournette was out, he had 9, 5, and 2. To me, just watching that game last week, I mean, you could kind of tell Ronald Jones got the bulk of everything in the first quarter. I mean, they were handing the ball off to him. He was in the game. But Fournette was in goal line opportunities. Fournette could have gotten multiple catches that in the red zone. I think I'm gonna disagree with you on this one because I think Ronald Jones could be a fade for me because I think everyone's gonna plug Ronald Jones in because he's the starting running back on a team favored by 12.5 points, and they're just gonna say, boom, let's play this guy. And he's gonna be 50% owned. I think there's an opportunity for him to have a disappointing game.
I like this, man. I'm actually kind of excited for this. This is kind of fun. We haven't really disagreed on the show yet, so I'm very interested to see how this plays out. But I do want to point something else out, right? Like, I agree with you that it's very easy to look at that and say that it could be impacted by Leonard Fournette's absence. But also look at Tom Brady's performance in those games. I mean, we're talking about, 3 pick sixes in the first 2 games, and then 3 interceptions in the third. So yeah, I'm right there with you.
You're right.
I think it's
a good point.
And but I want to call something out. That's why I like the slate too, is because it's very easy to have different conclusions for whatever has been happening over the past few weeks, which means other than Tom Brady, there's a very good chance, and Mike Evans, that ownership could be fairly spread out because
I think it will.
It's hard to predict where the ball is going to go. So
I think it will.
I'm excited for it.
I also think that if your game script for this game is a 4-2 Buccaneers, which I think a lot of people will, or a 5-1 Buccaneers, there's no reason not to have Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette in the same lineup. If these guys are getting a lot of the volume and you think that it could be a blowout going into the middle of the third quarter, these guys are both going to get the love that you need. And at 6,200 for Leonard Fournette, why not? Why not? No point in mentioning LaShawn McCoy. I'm not going to touch this guy. I know he's $600, but it's a crowded backfield. Keyshawn Vaughn, when Fournette and McCoy were injured, he was a good option, but he will not be in my player pool. LaShawn McCoy will not be in my player pool. All right, let's move on to the Giants and your boy Wayne Gallman. So he was in the optimal a few weeks, was it a week or two ago? Whatever that showdown was where Devontae Freeman was a great play, and Wayne Gallman wasn't even in my player pool because we had Dion Lewis sort of slated to play behind Freeman. Wayne Gallman showed up and had a great game.
Devontae Freeman got hurt.
Yeah, and we faded Freeman. We probably cursed him. So Wayne Gallman at 5,200. Is he just an obvious play? I don't think his ownership's going to be that high because why would you play the starting running back who gets goal line carries and gets handoffs? Why would you play a heavy load of this guy if they're going to be down by 2 touchdowns the whole game?
I mean, all I got to say, man, is exactly what I saw when Devontae Freeman went down and the Giants were trying to hang on for dear life. You had one guy out there who was busting his ass trying to make plays for his team. And to be honest, when a quarterback's struggling with their offensive line isn't protecting him, it's so easy to just hand the ball off and give the ball to a running back in a draw play, dump it off into the flat and let one of the best athletes on the field try and make plays. And that's really what I like about him. The only thing that I would have to say to keep an eye on is Todd Bowles is known for his run defense. So it could be a very interesting situation with him here. And to be honest, I mean, with the total, or with the Vegas line kind of going towards Tampa pretty significantly, I would expect that to impact Gallman's ownership overall. So, I mean, again, like you said, why would you play this guy when you're expecting to lose by 2 touchdowns? But I think that it's the safest option on an offense that doesn't have an offensive line. I get that they have some studs at wide receiver, but if you don't have 2 seconds, 3 seconds to throw the ball, you can't get him there. So that's why I like Gallman, and I think he's going to be heavily utilized tomorrow night.
Let's just look at. Let me just pull up the Giants, some of the info here. Snap rate 57% last week for Wayne Gallman. Dion Lewis at 25%. He wasn't really utilized too much in the past game, although he did get 5 targets. And actually, I'm wrong. He was 17% target share, which that's in green, so that's a good thing. So yeah, Wayne Gallman, even if they are losing, they're going to throw this guy in and let him on first, second down, and sometimes third down. He's going to be in the game, whether it's a passing situation or not. So I like Wayne Gallman, man. I do. I think he's going to be under the radar, and I don't think anybody's going to get him in.
So I do have one other point to make while we're on the running backs here, and then honestly, I think we can move on. Dion Lewis, I don't. It is a significant. Is a decent play at 1,200. He is going to get involved in the pass game, and he is a little better at pass protection than Wayne Gallman. So there is a potential that if the Giants get too far behind and they need to start running deeper routes, that he's going to be more involved in the offense.
Yeah.
So I think they're both in play here. Dion Lewis, obviously because of his price as well, but I would not play him in the same lineup.
Yeah, I agree. In this situation, I usually love playing running back, like backup running backs, and also the starting running back in the same line, just because it makes you so much different, and it's just an interesting build, and I like kind of doing that kind of thing. But today, I don't think, or tomorrow night, there's really no reason. But if you look at this guy, you're kind of looking for a player who's $1,200. You're looking for opportunity, and you're looking for some ceiling, and you see that he can get 2. His floor is around 2 points, which is obviously not going to win you a damn thing. But, if you can get that 15.6 fantasy point output from him, or even 10 points at that price on a low-scoring game, he could be in the optimal. I'm willing to embrace, maybe right around the field, maybe slightly above the field with him, for sure. Let's move on to wide receivers for the Giants. All right. So we got Darius Slayton at 7,000. All these guys are pretty affordable. You got Sterling Shepard coming back from injury. He had a pretty good game last week. This guy is actually the number 1 wide receiver on the team before he got injured. Slayton has stepped up quite a bit, cementing himself as probably the number 1 guy. I don't really know who Daniel Jones likes more at this point. We haven't really seen a whole lot of Sterling Shepard lately. But you got Golden Tate, who I can't help it. You got Golden Tate, who this guy, whenever you just don't expect anything from him, he catches a touchdown pass. And I think we said this last time. I just can't. I'm going
to interrupt you.
What
interrupt you, man.
What happened?
No, you don't. Nothing.
Oh, okay.
You do not need to explain anybody or to anything. God damn it! You do not need to explain anything to anybody. If Golden Tate is $3,000, you fucking play him. You play him, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
What are you talking about? He's $3,000. Like that. That's all I got to say on him.
I mean, I'm hoping. I mean, look, last week he was 6,600 last week.
He had a touchdown, dude.
And he had a touchdown. And look, I mean, the target share for this guy, he's getting 5, 7, 6, 5. he had one down week, and then he had 2 targets, but he made up for that with a touchdown. So I guess my point is, I know with Shepard coming back, you can tell that his targets are going down, but I think he has that home run ability, and he always just seems to step up when you least expect him. I have no problem getting a shitload of Golden Taint because I think he has the upside that you want for a player at 3,000.
Yeah. Yeah, he just should not be 3,000. He should be 4,200. If you're going to price him down, 4,200 is his floor.
Yeah.
Like, so, unless he breaks a knee.
So Darius Slayton last week had 96.2% of the snaps. He's clearly the number one guy. He's on the field quite a bit. Golden Taint had 48% with Sterling Shepard coming back. Sterling Shepard sort of took over that Golden Taint role, and he was at about 78, 79% of the snaps. Now, so obviously Darius Slayton and Sterling Shepard are sort of 1 and 2 on the depth chart. When you look at the target share, though, Sterling Shepard came back. Last week he had 27% of the targets compared to Darius Slayton's 13%. So I know it's only a 1-game sample. Who knows if that was just a matchup thing? Who knows what that really was? But to me, that screams Sterling Shepard might be under-owned, simply because I don't know if people are willing to just fully buy into that one game he had. I think, to me, Slayton, I might be comfortable getting under the field on Slayton, but I'm just going to feel it out when it comes to ownership. All 3 of these guys I'm very, very interested in because there's going to be garbage time. If the game
they're
script
supposedly going to be down by like 100 points.
Well, that's what I mean. Is if the game script plays out that way, there's going to be garbage time. You're thinking, well, why would you play these guys if they're getting their ass kicked? They don't need to score touchdowns necessarily in a low-scoring game. They just need to get receptions, and garbage time receptions are huge. We're probably going to see that tonight in the fourth quarter with Ben DiNucci probably throwing to Michael Gallup 68 screen passes. That could move him into the optimal.
I just need a fucking pick six. Just a pick six. That's all I need.
How are they? It's 9-7 right now. How?
Bro, do not. Right.
Are you
so frustrated?
Where are you at? Can you check? Is your phone in use right now?
Yeah. No, dude. Well, my phone's in use, but I'm following along on
the game center.
And,
yeah.
Let's just suffice it to say, I will be fine. I just need. I first of all, I need Carson Wentz to stop turning the ball over. And I don't know how Doug Peterson hasn't just pulled him aside and said, just that. Stop turning the ball over.
I'm sure he has.
You don't have to do anything else. No, pull him, man. Jalen Hurts played for Nick Saban.
Bench him.
Yeah, no, dude, bench him. If you cannot beat the Dallas Cowboys, and
I agree.
Man. I'm done.
Just call Josh McCown from his fucking Iowa high school, or where the hell he's at right now. Call him in. Let him start the next game. Why not?
This is one of the most pathetic performances I've seen from a quarterback. Right? Stop doing dumb shit, man. Stop doing dumb shit. All you have to do is not run around in the pocket and then get sacked and fumble. Right? Let go of the ball. Don't try and make a stupid play, right? It's not rocket science. You know as well as I do, when you have a quarterback struggling, stop calling these dumbass plays, and then don't make your quarterback go out there and try and win it for the entire team. You're not even losing the game your first 2 turnovers, right? So what are you forcing? But anyways, man, I'm kind of.
It's a vent session. Ooh, Goddard, baby. All right. Okay. Sorry, guys. I know you're watching this after the game is over and you don't give a fuck. I apologize.
This is why we don't drink in most episodes.
Well, I mean, what's your most?
I don't drink in most episodes.
Well, yeah, because you're working during the day and shit. Yeah, I get it. Okay. So, wide receiver wise, Mike Evans, Scotty Miller, Tyler Johnson, Justin Watson. Mike Evans, 87% of the snaps last week. Scotty Miller, 60%. It looks like that's sort of the hierarchy. We got Evans, Miller, Tyler Johnson, and Watson. That's in order of price. It's quite a drastic price difference here between all these guys. I think that's the way we're going. How can you not get Mike Evans in this game? I mean, I know he's at 10.8K, which is that's a quarterback price. What do you think, man? I'm more likely to almost fade him. I know that it can end my night. I know that he could catch 2 touchdown passes in the first quarter, and I just shut my laptop and I just sort of move on. But if he, like I said, if he sprains his ankle, in the morning of the game or on the way out of the tunnel, he's going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. He's super fragile. I don't know. Talk to me, bro. What do I do here?
If you are playing Tom Brady, I don't think you need Mike Evans. But if you're fading Tom Brady, I think you need a pretty healthy exposure to Mike Evans. And I say healthy exposure, I would say probably with the field. I don't think you need to go too crazy with him and embrace some of the builds that you can get by not paying up for him with his potential injury situation. And again, it might be even safe going under the field with him because, again, this line is egregious. And if this is even close to right, there's going to be no reason to be throwing the ball to Mike Evans. And given his injury situation, I don't think Bruce Arians is going to push the issue if, they're up 14-3 in the first quarter. They might just start working in some more of these other receivers. And with that said, I think that opens up some interesting opportunities for Scotty Miller. But I don't know if I would pay for him.
Scotty Miller 8,600. That's too much. I mean, you have 3 wide receivers on the Giants, I think, that are more talented and have a higher ceiling. Yeah, Fulgham scored a touchdown. They have
That was very good for me.
Scotty Miller has. Last week he had 40% of the market share on his team of air yards. That's pretty good. The next highest is Gronk at 21. Is that right? Or at 28. So I think Scotty Miller is going to get the opportunity. Mike Evans is probably going to garner the best defender, the best coverage. So might leave Scotty Miller open for some pretty decent opportunity. I just don't know at 8,600 if you could pay up for this guy, and we'll just have to see how ownership goes on this. Any interest in Tyler Johnson or Justin Watson?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
100%. Yeah, Tyler Johnson, I will have a fairly decent amount of interest in. And then Justin Watson, I like him at $800. There's a good chance that he could just get worked in because, like I said, if they're winning this game by a lot, Mike Evans may just see limited snaps, and they don't have that many wide receivers on their team. And I know that potentially increases targets for Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette, but Bruce Arians likes his 3rd, 4th, 5th wide receivers. Yeah. And if he can get one of these other guys working out of the slot, then I think he's going to try to do it. So Justin Watson at $800 is a very interesting play, I think.
And look, Justin Watson's been out since week 4, so no one knows who the hell this guy is. But he was a pretty big part of their team to start the year. He got some decent targets. I think at that price tag, especially with all these expensive ass dudes, if you want to go with the Brady Evans stack, you might have to throw in a guy like Justin Watson and another cheap guy and run it back with 2 other Giants in order to really make a decent lineup. All right, let's move on to tight end. We're going Tampa Bay. We're going Mr. Tide Pod himself, Rob Gronkowski. Last week, he had a hell of a game last week. Brady and him seem to be clicking now. Brady's targeting him quite a bit. How are you handling Gronkowski? I think he's going to be high owned just because, it's Rob Gronkowski. You're on the Draftkings app, you're scrolling through, oh shit, Rob Gronkowski, let's fucking put him and Tom Brady in the same lineup. If you're a casual player, that's probably what's going to happen, and the field is going to be inflated with that.
Yeah, so, I don't know, man. I'm not going to be high on Rob Gronkowski. He's here to block. He's had a couple decent games. But he's here to block. He's old, And I think he has a better chance of getting injured than literally anybody on this field. And that includes Mike Evans. So I'm not going to be high on Gronk at all.
I mean, it's just tempting to me because he's trending way up. Last week he ran 25 routes, which is one of the highest on the team. Snap-wise, he had 78% of the snaps. Market share of air yards, the last 2 weeks he was close to number 1 on the team in air yards. And target share was really high the last 2 weeks as well. He was getting 8 targets a game. I think it all depends on the game script, but it could be an outlier performance the past couple of weeks, and he's going to fall back into his, he's old as hell, at least for a football player, and his body. He's taking a lot of damage. He looks like fucking RoboCop out there. I think I'm just going to wait for ownership. If he's a top 7 owned player, I might have to go under the field. I don't think I'm going to fade him at all. I think by fade, fade means to me you're going to be under the field quite a bit. Doesn't mean I'm not going to have any of them. But I'll probably be, half the field on him if he's too high owned, and if he's under owned, I'm going to double the field. I know that's a strange answer, but it all depends on ownership. Cameron Brate, I'm just going to uncheck him. He has high upside, but it's a dart throw at this point. So let's move on to the Giants. I think Evan Ingram is the worst player in the history of the NFL. I think he has such talent, and for whatever reason, it's been wasted. If you've watched this guy play, there's a reason why he's projected so low, and there's a reason why he's going to be owned so low. I know he's going to be a low ownership, and that has the opportunity for leverage, but not if the guy can't catch a damn ball. The guy he's butterfingers. He can't catch. Are you messing with these tight ends on the Giants at all?
I might have a little Evan Ingram. I might have a little Caden Smith. But maybe 1, 2, 3 lineups total with both. I'm not going to get crazy with them. Golden Tate at 3K, I'd much rather play. Yeah, it's that simple.
All right, so kickers, Ryan Suckup and Graham Gano. I don't know. It's fucking kickers. It's a low total game. If anything, the Giants, Graham Gano is going to be a better option because, maybe the Giants can get into the red zone. They stall out because they suck ass. And Graham Gano gets you 4 30-plus yard field goals. I just sort of play it out based on roster construction. But at 3,600 and 4K, respectively, these guys are always options. Am I putting them in the captain tonight or for this game? No. Am I doubling up on kickers? No. What do you think? Give me some insight here. We always say the same shit about kickers. We can move on, but just give me a quick little soundbite.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a little bit of exposure to both. I'm probably gonna have to work them in, but again, if I have to play Graham Gano or Golden Tate, it's gonna be Golden Tate. I just feel like the pricing there is egregious. It doesn't make sense because the upside is absolutely different, right?
There's no ceiling on kickers unless they're kicking 55-yarders. There's just no ceiling.
Right, but Golden Tate, yeah, sure, he might have 1 reception for 10 yards, but he could also have 1 reception for 70 yards and a fucking touchdown. I don't understand. I don't understand the pricing here. So normally I would have a healthy amount, but I would rather X them out and play Golden Tate wherever a kicker shows up.
So Buccaneers defense at 7,400. Let's just do a little experiment. Let's look at all the players that are at 7,400 or below or near that. So you've got Leonard Fournette, who's cheaper than the defense. You've got Wayne Gallman, who's $2,200 cheaper. You've got Darius Slayton, Shepard, Tyler Johnson, etc., who are cheaper. You've got Rob Gronkowski, who's right around that price. Evan Ingram. Basically, everybody who we love and would love to get some shares of are cheaper than the Buccaneers defense. I know it's a good spot for them. But to me, if they're a top 5 owned player, I'm just gonna uncheck them because the upside is just unless Daniel Jones throws 4 picks and gets sacked 16 times, I just don't like having the Buccaneers at that price. I don't know. That's just me. Maybe it's just not a sexy play. I'm gonna uncheck them if they're high owned. What do you think about that?
I agree with you 100% that if they're high owned, I will not be playing them because of their price. But if they come in anything under 25%, I think they might be one of the ultimate leverage plays. If they're anywhere near low owned, which I personally expect them to be because of that ridiculous price tag. I think they'll probably come in closer to 15% or lower. And if they do, if those projections are even close, I might have a little bit of exposure there, just because I think it could be an incredible leverage play. But again, that's incredibly risky because just like we were talking about Golden Tate versus the kickers, the ceiling is very limited. So this would be banking on a pick 6 to pay off that 7.4 price tag. And by healthy exposure, I mean I normally play 1 or 2 lineups with defense, so I might be looking at 4 or 5. So out of a 20 max, just to be clear.
If I had to guess, I'd say they're about 25%, just based on some preliminary crunches that I did. Obviously, the projections aren't up to date. I mean, we're doing this whole day before Showdown. It's important to build on the day, obviously, and even up to like an hour or right before lock, just to get as much information as possible. But from what I can tell, the optimizers aren't loving the 7,400 Buccaneers at around 9 projected points on a median aspect. And to me, that actually makes me really interested in it if they're under 25%, for sure. Because at 7,400, the game script could just work out in a way where they could get a pick 6, they can get a fumble, they can get a kickoff for a touch or a punt for a touchdown, whatever. Anyways, keep an eye on the ownership. We always say that, but it's kind of the most important thing at this point. All right, fades of the night. You ready for this?
Let's do it.
Talk to me, bro. Tell me what you're thinking here.
Yeah, I honestly just think it's the easiest fade. We talked about it at the beginning of the episode, but Tom Brady is the easiest fade in this slate. He is way too expensive, and if this Vegas line is anywhere close to accurate, there's just absolutely no reason to think he's paying off his price tag, and I will stand firm of that. And I will stand firm in that, and I will not have more than 25% exposure to Tom Brady tomorrow night.
I think it's a good call. I mean, at worst, what's going to really, really crush your soul is when he gets 2 rushing touchdowns from the 1-yard line and Ronald Jones is on the bench. You're just going to fucking quit DFS at that point.
But that's part of playing DFS with Tom Brady, and I will admit to that. I've had it happen to me too many times. I'm fully prepared for that to happen.
And everybody else should be if you're taking this advice. Obviously, this is not this is a high upside, low probability play. Tom Brady will most likely be in the optimal, but because of his price,
there's a reason why he's going to be 80% owned.
Yeah, exactly. There's a reason.
If he doesn't pay off that price tag, like, you immediately are in the top 20%. And that's my point. That's all I'm trying to do here.
And here's the thing. If Tom Brady throws for 2 touchdowns and has 210 yards and gets 10 yards rushing, he might not be in the optimal. It depends on the game script. If he goes off for 5 touchdowns, you're fucked. Close your laptop, go to bed, open up a beer, whatever. But there is a situation at 12 point whatever the hell is it 12K, he's over 12K, that he's not in the optimal if he has just an average game. He needs to have a better than average game. That's why he's priced so high.
And it doesn't make sense to expect anything more than slightly above average at this ridiculous spread. So that's what I'm getting at.
Look, Tom Brady's been hot lately. To me, getting some Giants defense in there and maybe expecting just a random pick 6. This guy's the pick 6 king at the beginning of the season, even into last season. What do you have, like four straight games with a pick 6, something like that? I'm not calling that out now, but the opportunity is there for a mistake from Tom Brady on a Monday night. We saw it a couple weeks ago when he thought it was what, third down. He thought it was the wrong down. I mean, there's opportunity for a mistake. All right, we're going on. Actually, well, I should talk about my pick quickly. There's not really much to talk about. I think Evan Ingram sucks ass. He has upside. He's a great player. I know that I just contradicted myself, but DFS wise, he has upside. I just don't think he's gelling this year. I think there's something off, whether it's between him and Daniel Jones, maybe it's him and the coaching staff, whatever it is. I've been high on this guy all year, and maybe I'm jaded. It's just what happens when you play a guy a lot because of what he can do and not what he does do. I think Evan Ingram is an easy fade for me. I don't think he has an opportunity. I'd rather play Golden Tate. I'd rather play any of those other guys, the first or second wide receivers on the Giants. I'd rather play those guys. All right. Talk to me, bro. Taking a stand at captain. Yeah. Tell me about it.
I like Ronald Jones. I think tomorrow is going to be a really fun setup of 2-4 builds with 2 going Tampa and then 4 going New York. I don't think it's the same build structure that you're going to be looking at for a slate like tonight, where the blowout is as predictable. I don't think New York is that bad, and I think Daniel Jones is going to be able to put up some garbage time points, and that means somebody's going to be on the other end of the passes. I don't think it's going to be Evan Ingram because he sucks dick for free at parties, but that's where I'm at with it. And I think Tampa's going to try and run the ball, and I'd love to see Ronald Jones in the captain spot. So I'm going to be rolling with it tomorrow night. I'm going to have Ronald Jones, and I might have Mike Evans, or even the $800 Justin Watson or whatever the hell his name is, and run it back with Wayne Gallman, Darius Slayton, and some fucking Golden Tate at $3,000. I don't understand that pricing. But yeah, I'm going to have a decent amount of RJ at captain. I think he's going to crush.
So let me ask you this: if Ronald Jones tomorrow, if we get ownership projections, and across the industry, Ronald Jones is the third highest owned guy in the captain, do you stick with what you're saying? And it's okay to change based on that, but if you're going to stick with it because you have such a strong feeling about it, how do you differentiate your lineup? How do you be different with a guy who's the third highest owned in the captain? What are you going to do? You're going to take 2 bullet shots? You're going to go with the Justin Watson?
Oh no! If he's that high, if he's over 10% owned in captain, I'm not playing him in captain. We'll just leave it at that. Okay. If he's at that point, I'll start getting a little bit more creative. I'll probably go closer to Wayne Gallman, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Wayne Gallman is a nice pick because there's no sane person that would put him in captain besides us. And, because I don't give a fuck. I'll play anybody a captain because if it warrants it. Transitioning to Sterling Shepard. 6,600. So, look, same thing I did with Curtis Samuel a while back. I'm going to crunch out a couple hundred lineups with a lot of different guys that I think can be low owned in the captain. And I'm just going to look at the range of outcomes when it comes to projected fantasy points. You crunch out a bunch. I'm just going to crunch out a bunch with no settings, no randomness, nothing, no stacks. I want to see kind of what the optimal is. And then I take Sterling Shepard and I lock him in at captain and I crunch out 200, 300 lineups and I see what the roster construction can be. And I see what the floor and the ceiling is when it comes to projected points. And to me, Sterling Shepard is right up there with the optimal, except he's probably going to be 4% or less owned in the captain. And to me, that's just an obvious, it's a roster construction thing. I think Sterling Shepard has the ceiling. I think he has the possibility of getting 2 touchdowns. He can be the highest scoring wide receiver on the slate. And then I get to pair him with some of the highest probability plays on the slate as well. So Sterling Shepard to me is my stand at quarterback or at captain. I'm probably going to try to get a majority of my lineups with him so I can concentrate all my lineups to him so I can differentiate and try to get the nuts. What do you think about Sterling Shepard? You going to play any of him?
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I like Sterling Shepard. Sterling Shepard's my guy. I think he's one of the best receivers in. Well, I don't know. I guess on the Giants, I think he's a really good receiver. It is probably a bad analogy to go to best receivers to compare him to someone. But I think he's a stud wide receiver and he can crush. And again, I think to be completely honest, Golden Tate is someone we can consider in the captain spot. Again, because he's so dumb priced down. I don't understand it. So,
dude, Golden Tate in the captain. I don't know. I mean, if you want Tom Brady, if you want both quarterbacks and you want Mike Evans, you want Gronk, you want a lot of the chalk, I think it's a great option.
Yeah.
I think it's a great option for sure. He might be my second owned when it comes to captains. I think that to me, Leonard Fournette is a really interesting option. If he's under 5% owned in the captain, I'm going to take full advantage of that simply because he's an unknown. I think he can get the red zone. He's going to get the red zone opportunities. He's going to get the red zone targets. And I don't know if Brady likes him. I don't know who likes him. I think Ronald Jones is the better player in his career right now, and I think if they just gave the ball to Ronald Jones, they'd have a lot more success. But for some reason, Leonard Fournette is getting opportunity, and I don't know why, but I'm just going to embrace the fact that he's getting the opportunity. Any other random captain plays and roster construction notes that you want to talk about?
No, man. I think I'm going to be going 2-4 and 4-2 again tomorrow. But to be quite honest with you, I really need to get back to this Philly game because we're going to have a fun wrap up on this one, man.
All right. So by the way, tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning, we're going to try to record a show. 15, 20 minutes just talking about what we did right, what we did wrong, showing our screenshots. We want to be fully transparent and we want to learn from our own mistakes, and we want to hear from what you guys did as well. So tune in tomorrow morning about all this. Real quick, where are you at right now? How are you doing?
I'm battling for that top spot in one of my contests. The other contest, let's see, what am I doing? Yeah, the other contest, I'm top 300. One contest, I'm top 5. So it really comes down to whatever happens with the Philly defense. If the Philly defense can end up with a pick six like they should have had 14 times, I'd be doing all right in one of the bigger contests. But I'll take any profit I can get.
So follow us on Twitter. This video should be up by the time the game is over. We have a free Discord. We're giving out our projections. We're talking about our strategy. We're showing all of our exposures, all that fun stuff. Please like and subscribe. You guys have been amazing lately. We've been getting a lot of subscribers. We're a brand new channel, so we're trying to get some momentum. Any likes and subscribes that you guys can offer is really, really helpful. It helps us with the algorithm. We really appreciate it. Hit us up on Twitter. Follow us there. DM us. Let's have a conversation about Showdown. We really love Showdown, and we want to continue this show. We're going to be doing this 3 times a week, and then we're going to have our wrap-up shows talking about how we did. We call it, what do we call it? Facing the Music?
Yeah.
We're calling it Facing the Music.
Yeah. For now.
Well, hey, I like it. Anyways, guys, thank you so much. We will see you on Monday morning.
You